Are you telling me I'm right-wing?
No.
I voted Labour all my life, and I'm a right-wing person. This is why we in South Wales are going to give you a massive wake-up call on December the 12th. You are going to realise South Wales is like Scotland. You took us for granted and you take us for fools.
Well, I've never taken anybody for granted. I've never taken any vote for granted. I think we must always try and listen to people's concerns and address them. But what the referendum decided was that, people wanted to leave. What wasn't decided was how we should.
A lifelong Labour voter called in during the 2019 election. A Labour politician was on the line to win him back. Instead, the caller warned them South Wales would turn on December the 12th, that they'd taken the region for granted like Scotland. The politician replied by talking about parliamentary process. Weeks later, the red wall fell. Let's watch it together. And before I tell you to like and hit that subscribe button, please allow me the chance to earn that from you.
Borough Dale from Wales. Barry, I've got a question for you. As a Labour supporter and a Labour voter for all of my life, for you to turn around to me and tell me you're going to get me back into the Labour Party by offering me a referendum on a choice between Remain Light and Remain, how stupid do you take us for? You take us for utter idiots, don't you, Barry?
Well, borrowed out to you too. But look, what we're looking at is...
You're going against the vote that we voted for Barry.
No.
Come out and say it.
You remember what was on that ballot paper? It was whether we
leave
should...
or remain.
Exactly.
Quite simple, Barry.
And what it didn't say is how we would leave. And what we've been struggling over the past 3 years, and what the Conservatives have been unable even to agree amongst themselves, so much so that they've thrown 21 of their own people out of the party, right? Is how we should leave. So. How we should leave. Now, some people want to leave in the most right-wing way possible.
It's not right-wing.
Well, it's just leaving.
So you're telling me I'm right-wing, Barry? Are you telling me I'm right-wing?
No.
I voted Labour all my life, and I'm a right-wing person. This is why we in South Wales are going to give you a massive wake-up call on December the 12th. You are going to realise South Wales is like Scotland. You've took us for granted and you take us for fools.
Well, I've never taken anybody for granted. I've never taken any vote for granted. I think we must always try and listen to people's concerns and address them. But what the referendum decided was that, people wanted to leave. What wasn't decided was how we should. And that's what Parliament's been arguing about.
But you're not going to offer a choice in this referendum, are you? You're going to offer, as James says, a choice between Remain and Remain Light.
No, it's not Remain Light.
Well, it is. You're staying in the single market, you're staying in the customs union.
If you don't have any representation in the European Union, if you're no longer bound by the 2 treaties of the European Union, that means you're not a member of the European Union. And that's what we voted on.
And
if you remember back to the referendum...
Should you not offer a proper Brexit on the referendum as well?
If I may just make this point. If you remember back to the referendum, when Nigel Farage was saying, look at Norway, look at Switzerland...
Stop mentioning Nigel Farage and Hannah. They are not members of the government. They're not MPs. You are trying to go against what we voted for. So don't waffle, Barry. Come out and say it. You want us to remain and you want to stab the people in South Wales in the back.
Absolutely
like you've done
not.
to Scotland, like you've done to the North.
No, absolutely not. What we're trying to do is to offer people a way in which, yes, they can leave if they want to, but without destroying jobs and our economy, and without ignoring the wishes of the other half of the population.
But you could easily satisfy James, I think, by saying we'll have a Leave versus Remain referendum. We'll rerun the first one, actually, so we can see how people's views have changed or not. And then if Remain win, well, we all know what that means. But then if Leave wins, then you have a secondary question. Deal or Labour's, no deal or Labour's deal. And then I think that would satisfy James.
No, sorry, at the time of the referendum, nobody ever talked about no deal.
Yes, they did.
No.
David Cameron did. He said, if we don't leave with a deal, we leave under WTO terms. I can play you the video.
Sorry, you're right. You're right. But what he was saying when he was saying that, and let's look at the implication of what he was saying. He was saying that would be disastrous. He said if we don't leave with the deal, we would. Yeah. That was simply the default position.
But people have a right to.
That was going off the cliff edge.
Anyway, I mean, James there has articulated Labour's problem in this election, not only in South Wales but in the Midlands and the North. And judging by that YouGov poll on Wednesday, I mean, that is where Boris Johnson would get his majority from.
Well, look, if you look at what's been happening in the polls have been narrowing over the past few weeks.
True.
They've narrowed greatly this last week, down in some polls down to 6 points. I hope they will halve again in the next week, and ultimately we will be in a position where we can win this election. But we'll do it by, Iain, by trying to answer your question straight, and I'm not trying to duck his question. I've taken it on board. I understand he disagrees with me, but what he has to understand is that he, in disagreeing with half of his fellow citizens, we're faced with two extremes. Some people want one, some people want the other.
Let me set the scene, because context is everything here. It's the 2019 general election campaign. On Iain Dale's LBC show, the guest is Barry Gardiner, a senior Labour figure. And a caller rings in, a man from South Wales, lifelong Labour, and absolutely furious. What you're about to watch is Gardiner trying to win that voter back, and in hindsight, it's one of the most telling exchanges of the entire campaign. First, let me be fair to Labour, because the video should be. Their position in 2019 was a genuine attempt at compromise. And it wasn't a stupid one on paper. The country had split roughly down the middle. So Labour said, we'll negotiate a softer Brexit deal, one that protects jobs and stays close to the economy people's livelihoods depend on, and then put that deal to the public against Remain. Leave, but gently. Honour the result without wrecking the economy. That's Gardiner's whole case, and he makes it earnestly. He isn't a villain. He's trying to hold together a party whose voters wanted opposite things. But here's the problem. And the caller puts his finger right on it, hard, because to a man who voted Leave, that compromise doesn't look like a compromise at all. It looks like a stitch-up. His line is the one that cuts through everything. You're offering me a referendum, he says, on a choice between Remain and Remain Light. How stupid do you take us for? And you can hear it. That's not really about Brexit policy. It's about respect. It's a lifelong Labour voter who feels his own party has decided it knows better than he does, and is now dressing that up as democracy. And then the moment that turns from an argument into a prophecy. Gardiner at one point describes leaving on certain terms as leaving in the most right-wing way possible, and the caller seizes it. Are you telling me I'm right-wing? I've voted Labour all my life. And there it is, in one sentence, the whole tragedy of Labour's 2019. A party that had started, however unintentionally, to talk about its own most loyal voters as if they were the problem. As if wanting the thing you actually voted for made you suspect. And the caller doesn't just complain, he predicts. This, he says, is why South Wales is going to give you a massive wake-up call on December the 12th. You're going to realise South Wales is like Scotland. You've taken us for granted, and you take us for fools. Now watch what Gardiner does with that, because this is the bit that matters. He doesn't engage with the feeling. He can't really, because there's no policy answer to being told you've stopped listening. So he retreats to process. The referendum decided that people wanted to leave, he says. What wasn't decided was how, and that's what Parliament's been arguing about. Which is true, it's accurate, and it completely misses the man in front of him. The caller isn't asking about parliamentary mechanics. He's telling his own party they've lost him, and Gardiner is answering with a seminar on ballot wording. And this is where it connects to something this channel keeps coming back to. It isn't belief over facts this time. It's quieter and, for a political party, more fatal. It's the moment an institution starts explaining to people why their anger is misinformed, instead of asking why they're angry. The caller hands them the diagnosis, for free, live on air, Scotland taken for granted, December the 12th, and the response is essentially, you've misunderstood the process, we know how it ends. Weeks later, on December the 12th, the Red Wall came down. Seats that had been Labour for generations in Wales, the Midlands, the North, went to Boris Johnson. Labour had its worst result since 1935. That caller wasn't offering an opinion, he was reading out the result in advance, and his own party argued with him about it. Now, I'm not here to tell you Labour's Brexit policy was right or wrong, or that the caller was right about Brexit itself. Reasonable people are still divided on all of it. What the clip captures isn't who was correct about Europe, it's something simpler, and it applies to every party and every side. When your most loyal supporters tell you they feel taken for granted, the losing move is to explain to them why they're wrong to feel it. So no gloating today, because there's a genuine sadness in watching a man beg his own side to listen. If it was worth your time, give it a like, share it with someone who thinks voters never see it coming, and subscribe if you'd like more. He saw it coming, he told them the date, they just weren't listening.